Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS MLB Friday. It's a loaded day. There's a ton of NBA on also. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go live at 3 p.m. We're going to go through all the NBA games, and then we're going to go through all the MLB games back to back. So it's going to be a loaded show, probably 2.5 hour live stream. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. NBA first, MLB second. That's the plan. In this video, we're going to go through 4 games, 4 or 5. We'll see what I have time to get to. Obviously, whatever I don't get through, we'll go through on the live show. As far as Thursday night, I'm recording this. The action's all still happening, so I don't know how I did yet. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, I had a good one. So, yeah, I'm going to go through 4 or 5 games. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
First up, we got Texas on the road in Houston. These two teams right back at it after they just had a 4-game series in Arlington. That was over last weekend. Houston minus 130 favorites, and the total sitting at 8. On the mound for the Rangers, we got Dane Dunning, JP France pitching for Houston. So let's start with the matchup for JP France against the Rangers lineup. Through 3 starts against Texas, he's got a 4.08 ERA, a 147 whip, 558 expected FIP. Not great numbers there. I mean, not absolutely terrible, but definitely not good. His first 2 starts of the season have definitely not been good. 4.76 ERA, a 150 whip, a 496 expected FIP. And one of those starts was against the Rangers. It was on the road in Arlington last weekend. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 8 hits and 2 walks. Not a good start. He only allowed 3 earned runs, so I mean that's not completely terrible, but definitely not a good start at all. His other start was against the Yankees, so that's one thing you can say for JP France is his 2 starts were against top 10 lineups against right-handed pitching. But it's not like it gets any easier for JP France. He's pitching against the Rangers again, this time at home in Houston, where he's been worse. Over the course of his career, he's got a 3.24 ERA on the road, a 4.54 at home. So he's actually been worse at home in Houston. JP France's pitch mix, you can see 4-seam fastball, cutter, and changeup. Those are his main 3 pitches there. Texas against those 3 pitches, 8th, 15th, and 5th. I mean, I don't see any reason to trust JP France here. I know the Texas bats have been struggling a little bit in that Oakland series, but Rangers should definitely put some runs on the board here. The other matchup is Dane Dunning against Houston. Ugly-looking career numbers against the Astros, a 5.20 ERA, 157 whip, a 5.62 FIP. Definitely not looking good there. On the season, his numbers look okay. A 4.15 ERA and a 6.15 FIP. I mean, I said okay, but it's definitely below okay. That being said, his last start was against Houston on April 7th, and he was actually okay. 6 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks. That's a solid start. So his last start was against the Astros, and he pitched pretty well. Houston against right-handed pitching this season, 5th in average, 8th in OPS, 11th in isolated power, 6th in WRC+. Pretty much right on par where they've been the last few years. In the last 3 seasons, Houston's 5th, 4th, 8th, and 4th in those categories. So this is a lineup we know can hit righties. Dane Dunning's main 2 pitches are the sinker and the slider, 37% and 26%. Those are the rates he throws those 2 pitches. Houston 11th and 10th against those 2 pitches, so really not much there. They've been solid against his pitch mix. Now we get to the bullpen matchup, and this is where it gets interesting because Houston is in a situation here. So first off, Texas has the better bullpen. Look, on the season, the Rangers 15th in ERA, 14th in whip, 14th in expected FIP. That's the Rangers bullpen. Houston 24th, 25th, and 23rd. So before we even get started talking about this, Texas has the better bullpen, or at least they've had the better bullpen this season. But then you look at the usage for the Astros. Let me ask you, I'm going to put it on the screen. Who is available to pitch out of the bullpen for Houston? You got Hader and Presley. Both those guys can pitch. Who else? Abreu, Montero, Martinez, Scott, Mushinski, Belak. I don't think any of those guys are going to be available. So they're going to have to call arms up from the minor leagues, I guess, because judging by what I'm looking at, Houston should only have 2 available arms to use out of the bullpen, Presley and Hader, and both of those guys are arms they really only like to use when they're winning. So if JP France runs into problems here, I don't know who is going to come out and pitch for Houston. You can see a beat writer for Houston here. He tweeted out before the Hunter Brown game. He said Hunter Brown's got to get deep into this game. I'll put the tweet on the screen. That's what he said before that game. Hunter Brown made it 2 outs. He let him 9 runs in two-thirds of an inning. So Houston's bullpen is in a situation here, which is why you got to go Texas. I didn't take the money line. I actually took Texas team total over 4.5, but at plus money, you got to go Rangers. I'd say Texas money line or Texas team total over. Next game. Yankees on the road in Cleveland. Short home dogs here. Cleveland's plus 120. Total sitting at 8.5. On the mound for the Yankees, we got Schmitty. Clark Schmidt pitching for the Yanks. Carlos Carrasco on the mound for Cleveland. Start out with the matchup for Carrasco against the Yankees lineup. He's actually pitched against the Yankees 13 times. His career number is 4.01 ERA, a 1.22 WHIP. Decent, not great. But only one of those starts was within the last 3 years. I was with the Mets back in 2021. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks. So, I mean, I don't know how much we even take away from that. Even that was 3 years ago. And his stats overall since then are not great. A 5.19 ERA, a 1.46 WHIP, and a 4.50 FIP. That's in the last 3 years. So Carrasco has really struggled. Then you add on the fact that the Yankees are going to have 6 righties in their lineup for this one. Last 3 years, Carrasco against right-handed bats, they're hitting 283 off him with an 851 OPS. Not encouraging. Now, we'll say the Yankees' numbers against right-handed pitching this year is not insane. I mean, 17th in average, 12th in OPS, 9th in isolated power, 9th in WRC+. They're a good lineup against righties, but not much of a jump from last year. Last year, they were 27th, 18th, 9th, and 11th. Obviously, Juan Soto is a huge reason for the slight bump in stats. He's hitting 344 on the year with a 930 OPS, 183 WRC+. Been arguably one of the best hitters in the MLB this year. Definite positive angle for Carrasco here. This game's being played at home in Cleveland. Yankees bats haven't been nearly as good on the road this year. At home, they're hitting 260 with an 811 OPS and a 175 isolated power. On the road, 238, 693, 130. Yankees bats haven't been that great on the road so far this year. And another positive angle for Carrasco is his pitch mix. Throws a lot of changeups and a lot of four-seam fastballs. 31.2%, 28.7%. Yankees against those two pitches, 28th and 20th. So actually, I know it sounds crazy. I know Carrasco pitching against the Yankees lineup, that sounds like they're going to put up an 8-piece. But I don't think it's crazy to think Carrasco might pitch well here. The other matchup is Clark Schmidt against Cleveland's lineup. He's made 3 career starts against Cleveland. He's got a 4.35 ERA, which isn't terrible, but a 2.03 WHIP, averaging over 2 base runners allowed per inning. That's really, really bad. That's Adam Wainwright territory from last year. This is a Cleveland lineup that's been much better against right-handed pitching this season. They're 13th in average, 15th in OPS, 15th in isolated power, 11th at WRC+. That's their numbers against righties this year. A huge jump up from last year. Actually, these are the last 3 seasons. 6th in average, but 21st in OPS, 25th, 23rd. So Cleveland's actually off to a nice little start against right-handed pitching. And the fact that this game's being played in Cleveland and not at Yankee Stadium is not a good sign for Clark Schmidt. His ERA on the road, 4.78 in his career compared to a 3.97 at home. WHIP is higher on the road. Expected FIP higher is on the road. And then you get into the pitch mix. 33% of Clark Schmidt's pitches are cutters. 30.7% are sinkers. Cleveland against those two pitches. 20th against the cutter, but they're second against the sinker. So kind of a mixed bag there, positive and a negative. Bullpen edge has to go to Cleveland here. The Yankees bullpen has been okay to start the season. They're actually 5th in ERA, 9th in WHIP, but they're 27th in expected FIP, indicating they've had a lot of good luck. Meanwhile, Cleveland leads the MLB in bullpen ERA, 2nd in WHIP, 6th in expected FIP. Cleveland's looking like they might have one of the best bullpens in baseball this year. I'm taking the Guardians in this one. I'm getting the home team at plus 120. The starting pitching matchup here is closer than you think. The batting numbers are closer than you think. And Cleveland's got the better bullpen. So the home team at plus 120 in a game that I think could be a coin flip. Give me Cleveland. Next game. Cardinals are on the road in Phoenix to play the D-backs. Arizona minus 118 favorites. Total sitting at 9.5. On the mound for the Cards, we got Steven Matz, and he is pitching against Brandon Pfaadt for Arizona. Let's take a look at the matchup for Pfaadt against the Cardinals lineup here. Pfaadt coming off polar opposite starts this year, but if you look at the teams he pitched against, it makes sense. At home against the Rockies, he was excellent. 5 innings pitched, just 1 earned run, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts. But on the road in Atlanta, he was not so excellent. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 1 walk, 5 earned runs, and a home run. So, I mean, it makes sense. He pitched at home against the Rockies, then went on the road and pitched to the Braves. So that makes sense. Just makes it tough to get a read on him right now. If you look at the regular season numbers over the course of his career, dating back to 2022, this looks like a guy we need to fade. A 5.63 ERA, 3.59 WOBA, 140 WHIP. But he's got a 4.18 expected FIP. indicates that he's had a lot of bad luck over his career, and he's been pitching much better than that. And then we're starting to see it recently. In his last 10 games dating back to last year and in the playoffs, 3.56 ERA, 117 whip, 11.4 strikeouts per 9 is very good. He had excellent command, excellent control. Now he's set to pitch against a Cardinals lineup that's been really underwhelming so far against right-handed pitching so far this season. 26th, 22nd, 23rd, 21st, 27th. Those are the Cardinals' ranks against right-handed pitching. Definitely not good. The 11 righty starters to face the Cardinals this year, they combined for a 2.53 ERA and an 0.91 whip. So any righty starter that pitches against the Cardinals has been putting up ace-like numbers. Now, to be fair to the Cardinals, they've seen some really good righty starters. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, Yamamoto, Glasnow. I mean, they've seen some aces. That being said, when you let Max Meyer and Spencer Turnbull come into your home stadium and combine for 12 innings of just one-run baseball, I tend to feel this is a lineup we can't trust against righties. In terms of Brandon Pfaadt's pitch mix, his top 3 pitches are the four-seam fastball, the slider, and the sinker. Those 3 account for 88.5% of his pitches. So these are the 3 pitches he throws. The Cardinals against those 3 pitches, 26th, 16th, and 4th. So they actually have been crushing sinkers, and Pfaadt does throw a sinker, but 68% of Brandon Pfaadt's pitchers are the four-seam fastball or the slider, and the Cardinals are 26th and 16th against those 2. So overall, before we look at the matchup on the other side, I think this is a really nice spot for Brandon Pfaadt to pitch well. The other matchup, we got Steven Matz pitching against the Arizona offense. Lifetime against Matz, the current Arizona lineup has 58 plate appearances. They're hitting 281 off him, but just a 714 OPS, so they really haven't generated power off Matz. He's only pitched against the D-backs once since 2019, and it was actually last year, July 25th. He actually dealt 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 walk, no earned runs. So Steven Matz pitched really well in July against this team. And believe it or not, Steven Matz might be a guy coming into this start with some momentum, coming off back-to-back solid starts, one against the Marlins, okay, but the other one against the Dodgers. In those 2 games, he combines for a 1.74 ERA and a 1.16 whip. Now, his expected FIP were 4.63 and 4.46, indicating he's had some good luck, but still, Steven Matz is pitching well right now. That being said, this is going to be a true test on the road in Arizona because the D-backs are hitting lefties. On the season, they're 8th in WRC+, 15th in isolated power, 6th in on-base percentage. The 8 lefty starters to pitch against Arizona so far, they combine for 38 innings pitched, a 7.58 ERA, and a 184 whip. So Arizona has been a nightmare matchup for left-handed starters. If you're looking to bet the Cardinals here, this is what you're looking for. The question we have to ask is the Arizona lineup slowing down against left-handed pitching? Because as I just mentioned, they have killer numbers against lefties this year, but the last 3 lefty starters they've seen, Austin Gomer, Kyle Freeland, and Chris Sale. Those 3 combined for 16 in the 3rd innings pitch, a 3.31 ERA, and a 1.22 whip. So the last 3 lefty starters actually were able to pitch pretty well against Arizona, and 2 of those games were in Coors Field. But now we get to Steven Matz's pitch mix, and this is where it gets really hard to trust him here. So this dude throws a ton of sinkers, as I'm sure you might know. 54% of Steven Matz's pitches are sinkers. This dude lives and dies by the sinker. Want to know who's first in Major League Baseball this year in runs above average against sinkers? The Arizona Diamondbacks. They are literally the best line. They've been the best lineup in baseball hitting the sinker so far, and 54% of Matz's pitches are sinkers. Really tough to back Matz after hearing that. He does throw a lot of changeups, and Arizona is their 23rd, so not great against the changeup, but 54% of his pitches are sinkers. As far as the bullpen battle here, these 2 units are pretty even. 16th and 11th in ERA, 2nd and 8th in expected FIP, 6th and 7th in FIP. So kind of even there, a wash as far as the bullpens. So what am I betting in this game? Prop Beaver likes the under. He took the under at 9.5, and I can't say I hate that, but I really can't trust Steven Matz here. So personally, I took Arizona. I took D-backs on the money line at minus 118. Let's go Snakes. Next game. Milwaukee on the road in Baltimore. O's are short home favorites here, minus 118 with the total sitting at 8. On the mound for the Brewers, we got Freddie Peralta. He's pitching against Tyler Wells for the O's. Let's start with the matchup for Tyler Wells against the Brewers offense. Tyler Wells definitely not off to a great start this season. A 4.76 ERA, a 1.24 whip, 2.61 OBA. I mean, these aren't terrible numbers, but they're definitely not great. What makes it more concerning is these numbers from Tyler Wells in his first 2 starts of the year. They're against the Angels and the Pirates, who are 15th and 19th in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. He's about to take a huge step up in competition because the Brewers are annihilating righties. On the season, the Brewers are 4th in WRC plus, 7th in isolated power, 2nd in average against right-handed pitching. The last last 4 righty starters to pitch against Milwaukee have gotten crushed. They combine for a 9.90 ERA, 2.25 home runs per 9, and a 180 whip. And it's not like they've seen cupcake competition either. Hunter Green, Frankie Montas, Ashcraft, Hancock. I mean, some of those results may be inflated a little because they were in Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, but as a whole, I mean, still, Milwaukee is crushing righties right now. Some good news for Tyler Wells would be the current Brewers lineup is going to have 5 lefties in it, and Wells has been much better against left-handed bats. You can see his WOBA way down, home runs per 9 way down, strikeout to walk way up, whip down, expected FIP way down. He is significantly better against left-handed bats. Brewers are going to have 5 of them. And also, Milwaukee's never seen Tyler Wells stuff before, which I guess could be a positive, but they have had success against his pitch mix. 3 main pitches for Tyler Wells, 4-seam fastball, curveball, changeup. Brewers against those pitchers, 12th, 16th, and 6th. The other matchup is Freddie Peralta against Baltimore's offense. Started off the season with a great performance against the Mets, allowed just 1 hit. Looked a little more vulnerable in his second start against Seattle, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, and 3 runs, but still a solid start to the season. Now, we talked about it in yesterday's video. Baltimore's got great numbers against right-handed pitching this season. 5th in WRC+, 2nd in isolated power, 5th in OPS. But like we mentioned, most of that damage comes late in the games against the bullpens. In innings 1 through 5, Baltimore against righties, 9th, 20th, 27th. In innings 6 through 9, 2nd, 3rd. So all these elite numbers from Baltimore's offense against right-handed pitching is coming against the bullpens, not the starters. The last 4 righty starters to pitch against Baltimore combined for 23 1/3 innings, a 1.54 ERA, and an 0.90 whip. And that's not including Whitlock, the game that just happened tonight. Whitlock pitched great against them too. So I think all signs point to Freddie Peralta pitching a good game here. And to add on to that, Freddie Peralta has 2 main pitches, the 4-seam fastball and the slider. Those 2 account for 81% of his pitches. Baltimore's been terrible against both those pitches, 28th and 21st in the league. As far as the bullpens go, Baltimore's bullpen has been better so far this season, but Milwaukee's is going to be a little more rested. Probably kind of a wash there. I don't think there's any significant edge either way, but I'm going to roll with Milwaukee here. Get in at plus 100. These bats are red hot against righties. I actually think it's a decent spot for Freddie Peralta to pitch well. Maybe I'll stick to the first 5 because the Orioles always seem to lose the first 5 and win the full game. That just keeps happening over and over again. So it'll be Milwaukee first 5 or Milwaukee money line for me. Like I said earlier, live show, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We're going through all 15 NBA games and then all 15 MLB games. It's going to be a loaded show. I'll probably be live from like 3 p.m. Eastern time till 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you're able to make it, would love to see you in the comments. If you want my top bets or any of our top bets from the staff, we post them up on the website, KyleKirms.com. There's also a link on the homepage to join the Discord if you like. Head over there if you're interested. Let's have ourselves a great Friday night. There's a lot of action. Please bet responsibly. And yeah, I'll talk to you in the Discord and I'll see you in the live show.